Anyone who has that experience would immediately recognize some key characteristics that make what occurred there in that video seem like a standard American munition. There's a pretty typical sound signature of.
On 17th of October 2023, a bomb hit the Al-Ahli Baptist Hospital in Gaza City in the besieged Gaza Strip, causing unprecedented carnage. Gaza authorities say at least 500 people were killed in the attack and many hundreds more wounded. Both Israel and Hamas deny responsibility. The Middle East Monitor spoke to Dylan Griffith, a weapons expert and US Army veteran of the Afghanistan war, who gave us his take on the key claims made by Israel. Claim 1. Israel was not responsible for the attack.
For anyone that has any amount of experience being around explosives, and certainly a lot of Army combat veterans are going to have a similar experience who were in the Middle East, especially in Iraq and Afghanistan, and maybe had called in airstrikes on compounds or facilities. One of the most common munitions in use there is going to be a JDAM. A JDAM is a guided or unguided aircraft-fired munition.
This video circulating on social media has now been verified by the Washington Post as the strike that hit the hospital.
Anyone who has that experience would immediately recognize some key characteristics that make what occurred there in that video seem like a JDAM. There's a pretty typical sound signature of something that is moving from a vertically dropped or fired position. Someone had posted a video contrasting the two of a compound in Afghanistan being struck by a 1,000-pound JDAM, I think, and then this video. The sound characteristic of the video, it seems to me that it would be indicative of a guided munition, because you get that whistling of the fins correcting on the way down to the hospital. But, you know, anything with a tail kit on the back of it, with fins on the back of it, could make a similar sound. So it's tough to know, but it did seem to hit exactly where it was intended to hit.
Claim 2. The rocket came from Hamas or Islamic Jihad.
Hamas uses rockets up to the 400-kilogram mark, which is very large, but those are more rare. The typical rocket that Hamas would be firing would be in the 5 to 25-kilogram mark, which is vastly less explosive than you would have seen even in that video, even at night with as much light as there was.
Oh. The Israeli government said it was an Islamic Jihad rocket, so I showed Dylan a video being circulated by pro-Israel groups on social media.
So yeah, these are R-23 rockets, and with all rockets, a lot of the sound that a rocket is going to produce is going to be at the time that it is launched. Rockets are not a thing that burn the whole way to their target, so there's not a lot of screaming and expenditure of fuel as a rocket comes in. So usually a rocket coming in, there might be the sound of some air moving, but there is not a large expenditure of fuel. You don't typically get what you would with like a guided bomb or something. It's usually a quieter process as a rocket comes in, maybe just a little bit of sound. Certainly not what you would see in the video that is being passed around as the impact on the hospital.
Claim 3. The Hamas rocket failed in the air, and that's why it landed on the hospital.
Usually when a rocket fails and falls to the ground, there's a bit of an extended explosion period, because the fuel will combust over a period of time, and the explosives that are in there will ignite in a fashion that was not as intended. So not warhead first necessarily. It's a bit more of an extended type of an explosion. So it definitely does not seem like it would be a failed Hamas rocket attack. It doesn't have any of those characteristics to me, but it certainly does look like a standard American munition, the likes of which we have sent at this point thousands to Israel to be used for explicitly this kind of purpose. I have it on my account somewhere in a video of those coming into Israel off of a C-71, something like 300 to 400 2,000-pound JDAMs going into Israel. And then shortly after that video, there is an increase in the number of videos that we had seen coming out from the Gaza Strip of large penetrating bombs. So something that is designed to take out large concrete structures.
Claim 4. Israel doesn't bomb hospitals. A claim that is very straightforward to refute given Israel bombed the same hospital just 2 days before.
This was not something that had occurred just out of nowhere. The previous day, the people in that hospital had been warned by the IDF that the hospital was going to be struck. So it certainly was a plan, and it was an explicit plan. It does seem to me the IDF maybe had intended to strike this hospital, had hoped that people would have evacuated out of it before that had occurred, and when they did not, and they struck it anyway, immediately went into damage control mode. That's what it looks like to me.